Hey, what's up, College Football 25 fans? This is my wish list for College Football 26. Now, we did recently just get the new gameplay deep dive. It just dropped a few days ago. And before the Dynasty deep dive drops, I figured I'd go ahead and get this wish list out. This Dynasty deep dive is coming out here in a few days, so I'm going to go ahead and get this out. I am a couple months late with this video. I even got notes from back like in February. Unfortunately, I just never could get to it. I kept delaying, I kept procrastinating. I don't know why I never did. But I'm finally actually getting to it. So you know what they say, better late than never, but never late is better. I know over the past like week or so, there's been a bunch of leaks on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok from the beta of how the game is operating. And you know what? It was helpful because it kind of helped check some of the stuff off on my wish list that I did end up having. So I applaud you, EA. We'll take it. Glad to see you guys have checked off a couple things, and even not even from the beta. I think there was even some stuff that just kind of got leaked out. I guess when other YouTubers got a chance to go down to the EA and end up playing the game there. I guess some of that info was coming out. So a couple of the things I did have checked off. I had cross-platform written down. That was one of the big ones. The ability to have formation subs. Never made sense to why they didn't have that. I mean, they should have both, but the formation subs really didn't make. Madden had that in their game for years. How college football didn't have that in the first release? It didn't make. I mean, they had it on NCAA 14. It really did not make any sense at all that they did not have formation subs in there. I don't know what EA was thinking about that one, but all right then. Like I said, all right. I really don't know where they were going with that one, but. Like I said, why they weren't here, I'm not exactly too sure. I do like to see that from the deep dive, gameplay deep dive, the improvement to the wear and tear. That was something I was loving, that they are allowing it to have sliders for it, because it was desperately needed. And you could tell they kind of made tweaks overall to it throughout the year, even though there was no like big update. But you could kind of tell running like early on, running backs, you could run like one or two plays and they are done. That wear and tear would be in the dirt, and it was like no coming back from it. Especially if you play like Road to Glory. It was like no coming back from that, man. Your dude was like dead in a few plays. But I do love that they added a slider for it. I think that'll allow, some good things. But like I said, it's a wish list video, so I'll get my thoughts on that, on the deep dive at the end of the video. And y'all let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Plus, it's always good for the algorithm. And let me know what you guys would like to see added here in the upcoming release. So let's get started. This is mostly going to be kind of Dynasty central. I got some gameplay wishlist stuff in here I like to see too. But most of it's kind of geared towards Dynasty. So if you've watched my channel here over the past few months, I've kind of hinted at some of where the things I would like to see some changes at and see some improvements. So like I said, Dynasty, it does kind of need to have a little bit more to it. It is a decent base. I think 25 was a great base for the game. That was definitely better than any Madden game that's come out of any recency. I don't know when the last Madden I've actually like somewhat enjoyed. I've kind of forced myself to play through some Madden some years. But yeah, it does need a little bit more. And the biggest thing, here's a couple things. We know they added like trophy rooms and stuff like that. Looks like going through recruiting, like adding your recruits, they ended up adding ability to kind of see what you need, like without having to click off to another screen, like it's just going to be there. So we did see that from some of the beta leaks. But to what I was going to be saying, recruiting. Recruiting to me needs a bit of a better system. It's not awful. It's still similar to what we had on NCAA 14, which is pretty much you just kind of dump your hours into a recruit and it just simulates stuff. You don't really have much control over, you have control, but you don't have really like, honestly, the best way to, I guess the easiest way to describe it, you don't really have full control, but you kind of have, I feel like recruiting should be a little more in depth on what you actually need to do to get and land a recruit, especially a top recruit. Like in some of the live stream series that I was doing with my friend Kyle, first year at Kennesaw State, I think he landed like a 5-star quarterback. Come on now. How many 5-star quarterbacks are actually choosing? Yes, I know we had the whole Travis Hunter thing, but that was Deion Sanders as a head coach. It's not all we're seeing 5 stars go to a 1.5 star, 2-star, whatever program. They're just not doing it. They're not landing it, especially with the NIL thing now. These guys are looking to get the biggest bag as they can get. But I would like to see some better logic on how you can land a recruit and get them to commit. If a recruit is kind of big on staying close to home, which, they do have deal breakers in the game, I get it. And sometimes you can get locked out of the deal breaker. I kind of speak on deal breakers in a little bit. If they're big on, being stay close to home, maybe there's something you can kind of have in there. I don't know if it's like a perk or something that the player should have, that maybe he has a dream school thing. Like, hey, I grew up in Dallas. My dream school is one to go play at the University of Texas. Or I grew up in LA, dream school is USC, or so on. You know, Michigan's, you know, you grew up in Ann Arbor, you want to go to Michigan, but maybe those schools aren't recruiting them, or maybe they hop into the recruiting battle extremely late. Maybe they're not going to be locked out. Maybe you shouldn't be able to know, I guess, what a recruit's dream school is. But, you know, he would always stay, like, you kind of would still be sitting there on his list. Like, I guess if you're in, like, his top 10, the initial list, but maybe you don't always get, I don't know. I feel like you shouldn't be locked out of recruiting a recruit, because how many of these guys end up decommitting? We see it all the time. People will commit and then decommit. I mean, for various reasons. Not exactly sure what all of them in, but some might be able to coach. Some might not like the playing style. There's several reasons why a recruit would end up decommitting. I don't know. I feel like something like a dream school seems like that would be something kind of cool to end up implementing. Like, maybe they can find a way to steal a recruit. Like, maybe this recruit's in his top 3, but, you know, he always had, like I said, say he's from somewhere in Florida. Say he's from Miami, but his dream school is Florida State. What if Florida State never recruited the kid? But then, they see him late. You know, he's getting all these big offers. Maybe he's in his top 5. Maybe he's in his top 3. Maybe the dream school can kick their way forward. They start, I guess, you know, some of the features that they got, let's say we'll stick with what they got. Like they send the house at him. Well, more than likely, he's probably going to want his dream school that's ended up popping up. If it comes out, they got in over Florida. They got in over Miami. They got in over whatever other schools, Georgia, and all the other schools maybe surrounding. If that's his dream school, there's a good chance. Now, it shouldn't be a guarantee that the dream school gets him, but maybe having that like little quirk or perk or whatever kind of shoots them forward a little bit more. It gives you a better opportunity to land the recruit, because we're not scouting everybody and fully. I mean, you can try and, some guys are busts, some guys aren't. Some guys are gems. That's another thing that they kind of use some improvement on, or kind of, dude, they got to change something with that. I don't know. That's something we can get into on another day, but but something's kind of got to change with that. But I do feel like there should be some kind of different way that they end up actually going. You can kind of actually land a recruit, or maybe even steal a recruit, because it's not always a given that somebody's committing to one place and never decommitting. But I also can see that one might be a bit difficult to kind of pull off. I understand that one is quite a bit odd. Maybe it's a little way too far out there. That's probably something EA is never going to probably touch. Something maybe having a dream school could definitely be a bigger impact to have. I mean, a lot of times, some people you might know. You can go through somebody like Twitter history, and maybe that's the way, you know, because you gotta like scroll through social media thing on there. You don't actually get to, but maybe have like, hey, my scout is out here surfing his social media stuff. Maybe you can find out what I guess since, well, you know, they kind of remove likes, but maybe you can see posts and stories and stuff and be like, and find out, hey, he's been liking stuff that we've been doing for a long time, or he's been liking this school for a long time. You can kind of take a guess that, okay, yeah, he's probably a fan of such and such. I don't know. I do feel like there's something, you know, you guys know what I'm saying. Yeah, there's something they could kind of work in there. And not every athlete is going to have a dream school, so it's probably fine. But I feel like, you know, the guys that maybe want to stick closer to home, maybe that's where they could kind of lean that towards. It's kind of like a 1A to recruiting. I feel like you should have more of a scheme fit option. And I feel like it needs to be a legit feature, not the play style of, well, my quarterback throws for 300 yards a game, therefore it's going to fit the play style of all the quarterbacks. And this is, no, not that. Like a legit scheme fit that actually needs to show, like, you run certain things that actually fits this quarterback, or that fits this cornerback, or that fits this linebacker, or that fits this wide receiver and whatnot. So, like, since all these quarterbacks a little bit maybe more easier, but like a quarterback that's a pocket passer, but say he's got great speed as well. I know they kind of cut some of the speed stuff down when they made that one of the first patches, but somebody that's good speed and a good thrower, they're not going to be going to some option offense. I mean, you can recruit whoever the hell you want on these games, but they should kind of have a little more of, outside of people who have deal breakers, of course. And it's not a guarantee you're going to get in the top 10 or 5 or whatever, top 3 eventually when it gets down to it. But some of these guys should be a little more stingy on where they're actually going to play. Not every scrambling quarterback is going to want to be able to go play at an option offense. They're just not. But a quarterback, you know, they should be able to know, I'm a quarterback that likes to be under center more. I prefer a pro-style offense. I prefer that scheme. I don't want to be in shot. I want to run play action a lot. I want to run bootlegs. I don't want to run, you know, quick passing game, or a quarterback that does want to run a bunch of quick passes, RPO. Like, they should have some sort of scheme fit that should kind of have more of an indicator on where they want to go, because everybody's not plug and play. I get it. This is a video game. But if we're trying to keep somewhat realistically in realism, Everybody is just not plug and play. They're not, especially on this stuff. Now, I know I kind of speak more of this to more of a real life thing. I tell my friends about that stuff all the time. Like, everybody just can't just go into any system and they're going to work out. That's part of the reason why we see a lot of busts in the NFL. But yeah, I feel like that'll be something cool to implement. Like, if you should kind of have like some stats based off of it too. You should have some percentages like, hey, you're running the ball 65% of the time and you're only throwing 35%. Where if you're seeing like as a run heavy offense, maybe some of the top quarterbacks are not willing to go to your school. Or, I mean, and there can be reasons why. Maybe you got a crummy quarterback or maybe your quarterback's out for the year. I feel like that could be one of the deal breakers added in here. And they do need some changes with their deal breakers and how that system ends up working, that feature ends up working as well. So, like I said, I'll get into that a little bit later. I know, I feel like a scheme fit thing could actually work. Like, if you show, oh, I'm running 90% zone. Well, most man-to-man corner might not want to go to pretty much they know they're going to be running cover 3, cover 2, cover 4 all day long. You know, it just might not be their top priority is basically what I'm getting at. Not saying you should never be able to recruit that type of person, but it just feels like, you know, okay, man, maybe my priority should be elsewhere. Maybe I look at more of these schools or kind of narrow my way down that way, not just, oh, my deal breakers here. Oh, these are all the top schools. And like, I don't know. It's just kind of one of those I feel like, you know, could be kind of implemented in there. They could definitely do something like that because they already have like a ways to say, oh, you're already doing this certain amount of time anyway on the game, or you're already racking up. Like I said, I know play style is somewhat similar, but to me, play style is not the same thing as scheme fit. They should have it where a recruit has what they're most interested in of a scheme that they would want to be. They know you're a quick passing offense and they want to be RPOs. Maybe they have something like, hey, I'm going to gear towards people that are fitting that scheme. And you should kind of be able to lock in your scheme. I don't know. I don't want to say you should have it locked in for the whole year, but it should be a way where, oh, you can't just willy-nilly flip this or change it. Or maybe they see that, you know, you're changing your scheme a lot and maybe they don't like that. You know, something like that. I don't know. I feel like they could definitely work on with something with that. A scheme fits to me. That would be nice to have. All right, now let me get into what I was saying about deal breakers. Deal breakers need to be able to fluctuate. They do. A top recruit, like a 5-star, even 4 stars, who ride the bench their whole career because they're close to home, should want to see the field. There's no reason why they should not be wanting to see the field at all. That's because, oh, well, my deal breaker is proximity to home, so I'm just going to stick with the team the entire time. If you take 0 snaps and you're a 5-star, like, what was the point? Like, you should be wanting to see the field. They should be wanting to see the field real quick. They honestly should be a little bit more stingy with who they commit to and how quickly they might want to transfer, especially how big the transfer portal is right now. They dang sure are not going to be sticking around for 3 or 4 years without playing a snap. Not many of them, at least, unless they're like injured. But yeah, I feel like they need to kind of have some fluctuation. I mean, you can have multiple deal breakers on guys. I mean, at this point, you know, you already got like the little check mark system that you have when recruiting the guy. You could definitely implement a multiple deal breaker thing that's kind of, well, you know, this is my main deal breaker, but if either like maybe you have 2 of the 3 that end up breaking, I think playing time should be like probably one of the more key deal breakers. Like, once again, these guys are athletes, these are top athletes. They're gonna want to play. They're not just gonna want to sit there on the bench like they are. But yeah, I would love to see a fluctuating deal breaker. You know, it kind of changes over years, and maybe it doesn't have to necessarily be maybe that, you know, championship contender was their deal breaker. Maybe you win a championship, and then it's like, all right, you know what? Championship contender's not a big deal for me anymore. You know, I finally got a ring. Maybe they do want to be proximity to home eventually at some point. Maybe that pop comes into play, like at some point. You know, I feel like it should be able to change. Maybe it doesn't change for everybody, but some athletes, you know, it does change over time, especially when certain things are met or not met. Next for recruiting, I do have commit should be able to decommit. They should. And I know they can. There is a way a recruit will decommit. But it's just because the deal breaker got broken. And it's typically like, oh, the playing style deal breaker got broken because I'm not throwing for 350 passing yards a game. And I'm throwing for like 300, and he doesn't like that. And it drops below the threshold or whatever it is. Or, you know, I mean, it should be just more than playing style makes it where they decommit. There are various reasons why a recruit would decommit before national signing and they sign that letter of intent. It could be because the team sucks. It could be because a coach left that they really wanted to be a part with. It could be for who knows what. I mean, these high school athletes, man, they decommit all the dang time. And some guys will commit their sophomore, junior year, and then next thing you know, they done committed and decommitted from 2-3 different schools by then. But I would think it'd be a cool feature to implement. You should be able to find a way to be able to fight for your recruit too that is looking to decommit. I mean, you should kind of have some knowledge in there. Like, hey, we're not doing such and such. And this kind of goes back into what I was saying about the recruiting. It could have a little more deepness to it. Like, it could go a bit deeper in where they're at. Like, you should be able to fight for your recruit. Just now, I mean, because on this game, well, they verbally commit, really. I mean, it even says on there, they verbally committed. They haven't signed anything, so you should still be able to steal a recruit. Maybe if you got to be in the top 3 or top 5, you should be able to steal them or something like that. I don't know. And I don't even think they should cut you out at the top 3 line. I feel like you can definitely go top 5. I mean, there's some recruits that end up having 4, 5, 6, 7 hats up there when they're going on national signing day to pick what school they're going to go to. So you could definitely open it up more. I feel like, you shouldn't be necessarily locked up. Oh, just because they limited down to the top 3. Every recruit doesn't go down to the top 3. Maybe in their head they do. But even then, they still might have a few hats out there that they ended up selecting and putting on their head. But yeah, I would definitely like to see, the ability to have another way of decommitting that just really isn't play style. And finally, what I kind of have in here for recruiting, NIL needs to be a factor. It just does. It's too big of a part of college sports right now, especially in college football. I mean, we saw what it did to the top quarterback recruit in Bryce Underwood. He flipped from LSU, ends up going to Michigan because the money started pouring in, and Michigan ended up paying him, I don't know if it's the richest NIL deal ever so far or whatnot, but yeah. I mean, they're going to have to implement it. I don't know if you put in some type of money pool system on the game. You can't really do, it's not a cap space. You got like maybe a school funds. You kind of have Madden with that when you do owner mode. You got your team funds. I don't know if you do something like that. It's kind of hard to say or hard to maybe do that one just because you have booster money, but I mean, maybe you can figure out a cap. I mean, I know boosters not that they can pour in as much money as they want to, but I mean, if you're a bigger school, yeah, you should have a bigger NIL pool to be able to build from. If I'm building up North Texas, I'm not going to, have as much funds as Texas or Alabama or Georgia or Florida, all these other schools, Michigan, Ohio State. I'm not going to have that. But I really feel like NIL should have something. You should have your local, you should have your regional, you should have your national, big brands and whatnot. I don't know if they want to get Road to Glory had like Nissan in here. So, I mean, you could definitely do some of the actual known brands and whatnot. So, I don't know, but I definitely feel like they should be able to play some sort of role in that. All right. I know we spent a lot of time on recruiting. That's kind of where I felt like things could definitely use some improvement, but there are some other things that could use pretty much a good improvement. Me and my boy Kyle, this is kind of what we talked about a lot. The coaching carousel needs to be revamped. I don't like really at all how it operates. Honestly, it just kind of feels like trash. Like you get an offer, you can choose to accept or decline. They give you like typically 3. You either accept it, decline it, or you just advance it. Well, you either accept it or you advance to the next week, and maybe you get new offers. Maybe. Like, it's not even a guarantee, especially like Kyle was bringing up. Oh, well, I won 2 championships. I should pretty much be able to tell. I won 2 championships here at Florida State. I should be able to tell Vanderbilt, North Texas, NIU, who are all these other smaller schools that, hey, I would like to come to your school, but you're not going to offer me a job at all. That doesn't mean that a coach might not want to go there. Odds are, sure. Are they not wanting to? Probably not. Maybe they think they can't afford them. There's no cap thing on this game. There's no funds at all. So you shouldn't be shut out of a school because even though they have an opening, just because of, we don't think we can land them. You don't know that. Like, we don't even get the offers at all. Like, I mean, that's like we did our live stream series with Michigan State. I forget exactly where Kyle was at. Oh, he was in Memphis. And I was like, I kind of got tired of, just being able to pretty much dominate. You kind of cakewalk your way to the national title game or deep into the playoffs, at least the semifinals. And I was like, I kind of want another challenge. So I decided to go to Kansas. But I had to hope Kansas offered me. Like, I wasn't looking towards Kansas, but, you see the job security of a lot of coaches. And there are a lot of, you see which one, okay, this could be open, but there wasn't a guarantee I was going to get a job offer from Kansas. I mean, who knows? But I feel like, we kind of talked about it. Should maybe be able to send out feelers to a job, that might have an opening. It shouldn't just be the 1 to 4 jobs that they kind of just give you. A top-level coach should not be locked out of any job if there's an opening at a school that you like to go to. They just should not be. And also, you should be able to negotiate with a school. it shouldn't be a yes or no decision that week. No job offer is taken after 1 week, bro. It's not. You should be able to, I'm entering talks with this school. And maybe, I'm entering talks with a couple schools, or, you should be able to have some feelers out there. You shouldn't just be able to, yes, I got to make my decision right now that I'm taking this job. Okay, I'm making that decision. I'm not taking this job. Skip. Okay, if that's the case, you select, hey, I like to enter negotiations, or select no, or decline the offer, or whatever. Have that be an option. They shouldn't just disappear after a week. You only give us like 4 weeks anyway of coaching carousel. It might even be less than that. It might only be like 2 or 3. But yeah, that needs to be revamped. It really needs to be. I think this is kind of a little sub off of that. But when changing jobs, you should be able to encourage transfers to leave with you. I feel like that would be a nice thing to have in there. Like, you shouldn't be able to encourage everybody. Maybe you can pick a few recruits that you heavily recruited in on. But damn, I would really like for him to be able to come with me to this new school I'm going to. Maybe a freshman recruit that, you just brought in is more willing to leave than he is to stay with that coach, especially if you're a head coach. I feel like if you're a head coach, you definitely should have more power. Coordinators, maybe not as much power. Or maybe that just allows that person to enter the transfer portal. He doesn't have to necessarily come with you, but maybe he's more willing to transfer out because the head coach or coordinator that ended up bouncing. Like, to me, this should be like how it is for the persuasion for these guys that want to leave for the draft early, or other guys that are looking to transfer. It should be kind of a range how likely the player is wanting to leave if the coach ends up leaving as well. Now, I got a couple more here for Dynasty. These I'm not expecting. One, I'm almost positive they don't have, but this next one, Stadium Creator. I've seen this a lot. I've seen a lot of people say this like on Reddit, on Twitter, on other YouTube videos. Like, when you got a small program and you've turned them around like completely, like, you went from a 1-star prestige and now you're a 5-star prestige, and you built them up into a powerhouse. You should be able to upgrade your stadium. You should have some sort of way to be able to upgrade your stadium. You shouldn't just be able to stick with the same stadium for like 20 years or 30 years, however long, you're allowed to play, whatever it is. I mean, you should be able to, turn it into one of these multi-billion-dollar stadiums that they end up having now. Especially since there's no money system in the game. Maybe have like a checklist criteria you have to meet to be able to, unlock a specific part of upgrading your stadium. Like, you have to be a conference champion yada yada amount of times. You have to be a national champion like 3 or 4 times before you're going to be allowed to be able to do something. Or a couple, or maybe, small thresholds to keep meeting where you can kind of upgrade your stadium and slowly and surely kind of get it to be able to build it kind of to what you're liking, but maybe the game kind of has their thing too. I don't know, but it shouldn't just be this is the stadium of the team. This is it. Because hell, MLB The Show even has a stadium creator. Y'all know they don't really have much of that game at all. But yeah, if they can do it, yeah, we know y'all can probably figure it out as well. Y'all can definitely get it done. And finally, for Dynasty, we need to import draft class to Madden. We do. It doesn't matter when the transfer's over, like maybe the first 4 years, because I know it's something about the money. It's something about the deal they have with these college athletes where they can't have their name imported into Madden. First off, who cares? You can change the name in Madden anyway. If you want it to be, you can import draft classes in Madden. You just can't do it from college football. Like, people do it. Like, they'll do, here's my real roster that's going to be coming out for the NFL 2026 draft. Well, those are college players' names in there. Like the ones, or the expected ones that are going to be leaving. So who cares if Archie Manning, his name's going to be in Madden on a video game, like, before he's actually in the NFL or something like that. Like, honestly, that would, or just give us generated names. You already have a name generator anyway. Just make them random names. Just allow the attributes and stuff to stick, and then y'all adjust it how it needs to be fit there, and whatnot. But you should definitely be able to have an import draft into Madden. Like, I guess we'll find out if they're going to have that. My guess is they're not going to deal with that because they don't want to deal with the issues of that, but they definitely should be able to find a way. All right, now I'm going to move in here to the gameplay portion. This one probably won't speak on it too much. It's just some things, as playing through it, I feel like they could definitely make some improvements on. So, gameplay wish list. The kicking meter, I just feel like it needs to be tuned a bit. It shouldn't be so hard to kick a short field goal. Like, I feel like 9 times, well, maybe not 9, but like 6, 7 times out of 10, there's a good chance you're not making them short yardage figure if you're lined up on the far hashes. Like, there's a good chance, even if you move the arrow all the way, there's sometimes where he just kind of kicks it like right onto the edge of the goalpost. It's like, dude, this literally makes no sense on how it ends up working. Because it just seems like it has random moments when it wants to go in. Like, it can be no wind. That ball just goes, oh, well, it's just barely going to get to the net. Or it's just going to kind of saddle up next to the goalpost. Like, there are multiple times. And the computer, I mean, they had issues with that too. Don't even start. The CPU's kicking definitely needs to be tweaked. For somebody that plays offline mostly, their ability to kick 50, 60 yards, y'all, we know. College kickers are not that good. Majority of them are not. The majority of them stink. There are a couple outliers, but come on. I mean, they are almost automatic if it's outside. If they're not, honestly, if it's not inside like the 15-yard line and they're on the far edge, it's pretty much automatic they making the damn field goal. I wouldn't say 9 times out of 10. It's like 99 out of 100. They tend to not really miss. The sliders didn't affect them at all. Me and Kyle were trying to mess with some sliders during our Dynasty. It doesn't affect them at all. You can change the kick power all the way down. They still booting 60 yards, like, because it's just for the CPU stuff. I mean, it affects us. Our kicking sliders get affected by power and whatnot, but accuracy and everything, nah, it doesn't really do much. They definitely need to tweak some of that. Next for gameplay, this is wide receiver and DB play. Interceptions, so DBs tend to make better effort at plays on the ball than a receiver does. I don't know why, but receivers tend to not fight for the ball. There rarely are jump ball situations that end up in a receiver's hands. They tend to act like, oh, well, I'm going to run underneath it, and not, oh, this is going to be a jump ball situation. Let me turn around and pretty much turn into a power forward or a center and try and box somebody out and leap up to make the catch. They don't do that often. DBs are the most athletic players on the field. Cornerback, safety, they are the most athletic player. They are some of the greatest athletes of all time. You have never seen a DB play the way they do in college football 25, man. These dudes be going insane. It is absolutely absurd how well that they be making plays on the ball. And a lot of times they do end up in interceptions. Now, I did see that they're tweaking where, I guess it was in their blog of the deep dive for the gameplay. Jumping routes and stuff like that, that is actually going to, like, your defenders aren't going to drop the ball as much. I'm like, something tells me this is going to backfire. DBs, I mean, defensive players, they do drop the ball. I'm not saying they should drop it every time, but they're playing defense for a reason. They drop passes a lot. They do. They're not as good with the ball in their hands. Well, trying to catch the ball in their hands. Some of them are perfectly fine, but I mean, like I said, there's always a reason. There's a reason they're playing defense because they're not the best at playing offense. DB wide receiver play needs to be adjusted. I mean, a lot of times receivers, sure, if you got a speed guy, they're just going to run right by the whole defense. But I'm more talking about the jump 50-50 balls. Like, your guys, the receiver just does not make an attempt for it at all. Like, it's pretty much like, no, this is either DB's intercepting or the DB's breaking it up. It's one of the two. There's not really a third option there. Now, next I have is penalties. This one's a little, like, kind of less on the wish list. They honestly, they just need to tune some stuff. But they have to fix the defensive pass interference and the illegal contact. That thing is pretty bad, especially illegal contact. There are times when there are screens being thrown, and instead of offensive pass interference, when the offensive lineman is literally engaged with my linebacker before the ball's even being thrown and he's 5-6 yards downfield, they're calling illegal contact. That's not illegal contact, it's OPI, or a receiver's in there blocking the receiver downfield. Like, these guys haven't thrown the screen yet or whatever they're doing, and they're calling me the issue on defense. It's kind of insane. That's something they can end up fixing. Another one that they can get, fumbling. There's a lot of quote-unquote fumbling that ends up happening on the runners down. Like, I get it. Refs miss calls a lot, but especially they can't really tell if a runner's down or not. But a lot of times a guy will fumble, the knee clearly down. If I recover it, and I'm on defense, they will not challenge. But if I'm the offense and I fumble and my offensive guy recovers, then the challenge comes out. It really doesn't make sense kind of how that one ends up working, but that one, they can kind of get that one figured out, I feel like. That one shouldn't take too much for them to get figured out. The next one I have is control over our players. There are several times we have kind of no ability to actually control or move our own player. Like when a guy gets an interception in the end zone, and then they switch you on to them, and then they just start running out the end zone for no damn reason. Like, you'll pick the ball. EA's had this kind of issue for a while now, but it really makes no sense how I can pick a ball off in the end zone and then they immediately start beelining to get out of the end zone. No. if I got full control over my guy, and I can tell I'm not going to be able to make a pick six or at least get a good amount of yards getting past the 20, I'm not trying to get out the end zone, bro. And then there's other times where you click on a DB or a wide receiver to try and make a play on the ball. And that's kind of going back to the wide receiver DB thing. You click on and there's absolutely just nothing happening. The guy doesn't make an animation. They just kind of staying there. They're just like a dead robot. All right, and finally, I have the triple option / option offense. Pitching is pretty broke. It was really, really bad. I don't know what happened, but there were times where I have it, I'm finna pitch, I got a guy, he's wide open, and then the ball just shoots back 50 yards. I mean, the ball is just absolutely punted. And for whatever reason, and I had several instances where that'll happen. You try and pitch to the running back, and it just goes back as far as it can. And there are other times where they just won't even pitch the ball either. Like, it'll do like a fake pitch, even though you're hitting your L1 or LB button to actually pitch the ball, and he would just not give it up. Or whatever it ended up being the pitch, but maybe it was R1, RB. I don't recall exactly what it was, but I haven't played the game in a minute either. But yeah, I mean, they got some things they can tweak up gameplay-wise. I'm excited to kind of see what they're going to implement. One of the things I forgot to mention that I know they're adding in, the dynamic lighting. Thank you for actually doing that, man. Some people don't really care about it. For me, it didn't make sense for a game to start at 6 p.m. and by the time I got to the end of the fourth quarter, it still looked like it was 6 p.m. That doesn't make any sense. It should not still look like it's daylight out, especially when these are supposed to be prime time type of games, and it never really feels like it got to the prime time because it's not nighttime, man. I mean, it should feel like that. It seems like they kind of added some stuff though with that. I would love that they added the dynamic weather. It doesn't seem like they added that. A lot of times Madden is typically a year ahead of what college ended up being, or let's go back with NCAA. Madden always was like a year ahead, and the NCAA would get the kind of the newer features a year later. So maybe for college football 27, we'll see that. But I guess until then, we'll see. But maybe I highly doubt we're going to see anything crazy with the deep dive with the weather. I don't imagine that. Not the Dynasty deep dive. That would have been in the gameplay deep dive and whatnot. So yeah, I can't expect that to be there. But you know, hey, I'm still excited for the game to end up coming out. I'm always be excited for the football games. I mean, it's my passion, so that's kind of why I'm always kind of hyped for it. But even though I know a lot of people that they give EA a lot of hate, it's well-earned hate. I mean, they've done it to themselves over the years, but you know what? College football 25 was a step in the right direction. Hopefully we continue to see more steps in the right direction here coming soon. But you know, that's all I really got for the wish list portion. I did say I was going to kind of give my thoughts on the deep dive, but like I said, there were some things that I did like to see. I like the fact that, you know, I do like they add more abilities. I do think that one ability was the battering ram where dude ended up trucking 2 guys at one time. Yeah, that I ain't like seeing that. I said, oh hell no, didn't need that. I didn't need to see that at all. I'm like, oh boy, yeah, this could be a problem. I do like the dynamic ability for the abilities to improve over time. Like, you know, your platinum can end up going to the new Heisman ability, or I guess was it gold, or I don't know exactly what they call it. Gold can go platinum, silver can go. I'm guessing everything can go up another tier. So I'm guessing bronze can end up going to silver. Silver can go up to gold. Gold can go to platinum, and we know platinum can go up to Heisman, which is the new thing. So. Another thing, I do like the fact they added the twists and stunts. That is nice to have. I'm curious how that's going to end up working out. I can definitely feel like that could be an issue that ends up coming up. That can either be good for people who have quick jump, because I feel like that's already going to be broke. Quick jump was already broke if you had a platinum on the game beforehand. So we'll see how that ends up, you know, being here in this game, because that crap was giving me hell. The wear and tear sliders, I kind of mentioned that earlier. Love the fact that they ended up adding that in there. It was definitely needed. I know that one of the big things they kind of promoted was, the big hits here in the game. I'm like, man, y'all promote big hits all the time, or the fundamental hitting. Get pursuit angles right. It does sound like they got that a bit better. And to be fair, if you do watch college football, there are a lot of bad tackling, a lot of bad angles taken. But it was something that it needs to be better than what it was. I mean, you will have a guy just beelining for nobody. The running back or receivers, whoever's got the ball carrier is going one way completely, and you just got a guy running straight down instead of taking the angle. It's like, dude, where are you going? And then the new trench work stuff. I'm curious how this is going to work on offense. Because to me, it sounded like, no, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, to me it sounded like you can steer your defender away, but if you're on offense, you're not controlling your offensive lineman. I understand it from the defensive standpoint. You can kind of, you got a stronger guy, he can kind of more manipulate the offensive lineman, which, you know, it seems like it seems like that could be effective. I don't necessarily play on D lineman too often, so unless I get like trapped on it. I don't know. I'm curious how that one's gonna end up working. I can see that one not really working the best, but I guess we'll see how that ends up going. The new zones, being able to custom stem those, I do like that. I can see how that could be pretty good. I also like, you know, you can mess with your safety's depth, the width. You can line them up on different hashes and stuff like that. I do like the factor of that. So guess we'll see how that stuff ends up going. But yeah, that is where I'm going to wrap things up. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you guys hit the like button. If you are ready for college football 26, comment down below. Like I said, let me know what you guys think. Comment for the algorithm too, man. What you guys would like to see for your wish list, or what you guys have, you know, what you guys are really looking forward to seeing here in the new release. If you guys are new, subscribe for more college football. I'm going to be coming out with the college football 26 content. We're going to have live streams. I'm going to have a series as well here up on the channel. So I hope to see you guys there. Until next time, everybody, I hope you guys stay safe out there. As always, God bless and peace. I'm gone. Close it out, Future.
And it's the love from my fans got me still here.